Hey there, it's Mike. Remember when our parents said buying a home was the smartest thing you could do? Back then, they meant stability, family, and a roof over your head, not chasing profit or market trends. They told stories about buying their first house for the price of a used car. Sounds dreamy, right? But then reality hits. Today, most people can't even afford rent, let alone a mortgage. You start to wonder if you're doing something wrong, or if the entire system changed. Spoiler alert. It's not just you. It's the game itself that's been rewritten. So let's break down why homes became so unaffordable, who's winning, and if this can ever be fixed. Once upon a time, buying a home was just part of life, not a financial strategy. It meant security, a place to raise your kids, maybe plant a tree and never move again. In the 1960s, an average house cost about 2 to 3 times the yearly income of one worker. One job, one income, one home. Simple math that made sense. Governments even helped. In the US, the GI Bill gave veterans cheap loans and fair chances. But the math doesn't add up anymore. The median home now costs 5 to 6 times household income. In expensive cities, it's 8 times or more. That's not a dream. That's a trap. Somewhere along the line, homes stopped being homes and became assets. People realized they could buy property, wait, and sell for massive profit. Suddenly, small starter homes disappeared, replaced by luxury condos and investment-grade real estate. The goal wasn't to live, it was to flip, to hoard, to speculate. And when everyone plays investor, housing stops being affordable for the rest. Even those who just want a simple place to live are priced out of the dream. But wait, shouldn't prices fall when fewer people buy? That's how it works with cars, phones, or even avocado toast. Yet housing doesn't obey that rule. Prices keep climbing even when demand drops. The first culprit? Zoning laws, the invisible lines that decide what gets built where. Imagine a city sliced into strict zones. Housing here, shops there, factories far away. Sounds organized, but these rules often freeze cities in time. Populations grow, but zoning maps don't, so supply shrinks and prices soar. Some areas even ban apartments or small houses entirely, locking out affordable options. And when developers finally get land, many just sit on it, waiting for prices to rise. That's called land hoarding, and it's like playing Monopoly in real life. Next, the construction process itself is slow, costly, and full of red tape. Permits drag on, material prices jump, workers quit, and sometimes lawsuits freeze projects forever. That's why you see half-built towers haunting skylines, the so-called ghost buildings. And when builders finally do build, they choose luxury homes for better profit margins. Middle-class buyers? They're simply not worth the effort, economically speaking. Then there are zombie houses, properties bought, left empty, waiting to rise in value. They make cities look alive from afar but hollow up close. Investors don't need tenants. They just need time. Which brings us to the scariest twist. Your landlord might be a hedge fund. Once landlords were people, a retired couple, or a local family. Now your rent check might be going straight to Wall Street. Companies like Blackstone and Invitation Homes own over 100,000 houses each. To them, homes aren't homes. They're spreadsheets filled with profit columns. And every rent increase is another line of growth on their quarterly report. Today, 1 in 4 homes is bought by investors. Regular families don't stand a chance. Even worse, some homes aren't rented long-term at all. They're turned into Airbnbs for tourists. Locals get priced out while travelers enjoy authentic stays in once livable neighborhoods. Cities like Barcelona and New York are fighting back, but the trend keeps spreading. Housing isn't about community anymore. It's about competition. And somehow we're all playing a game we never agreed to join. So how did we get here, where living in a home became a luxury sport? Let's talk about the system that creates the problem and then sells us the solution. You've probably heard people say, it's your fault you can't buy a house. Stop buying lattes, stop eating avocado toast, they say, as if that could fix a trillion-dollar market. The truth? Home prices have risen way faster than wages for decades. Even if you save every month, the price of the house grows faster than your savings. It's like running a marathon where the finish line keeps moving away from you. Politicians try to help by giving tax breaks or first-time buyer bonuses. Sounds good, right? But these programs boost demand without fixing supply. More buyers with the same number of homes means higher prices again. The same help keeps the system inflated, like adding air to a leaking balloon. Meanwhile, homeowners often vote against new developments to protect their property values. They want affordable homes for their kids, yet block construction in their own neighborhoods. That's a contradiction only real estate could pull off. Mortgage rules also keep changing, usually making things harder for newcomers. Even if you play by every rule, the target shifts. Higher rates, bigger down payments, stricter banks. In big cities, renters spend 35 to 45% of income just to stay housed. The recommended 30%, that's a fairy tale now. And people who finally buy feel trapped. High debt, high interest, no escape. You're not building a dream anymore. You're managing survival with a mortgage. So can this ever be fixed? Yes, technically, but it would take courage most governments don't have. The first proposed fix is something called a land value tax. Instead of taxing both land and buildings, it taxes only the land's value. The idea is to discourage land hoarding and force owners to build or sell. It doesn't work perfectly, but it's better than letting empty lots rot for profit. The second idea, zoning reform. That means changing local laws to allow smaller homes and denser apartments. Cities like Tokyo did this decades ago. That's why their housing stayed relatively affordable. Third, some experts suggest banning big companies from buying single-family homes. Because when giant funds compete with families, the outcome is already decided. Another proposal is cutting tax benefits for people with multiple properties. If you own 3 vacation houses, maybe you don't need another tax break. All these ideas sound great until you realize who votes. About 65% of Americans already own homes. That means any policy lowering prices would anger the majority. Politicians love votes more than affordable housing. No one wants to tell voters their biggest asset might lose value. That's why housing reform always studied, never done. And if prices suddenly drop, the whole economy could shake. Banks would panic, loans would shrink, and buyers from last year could go underwater overnight. Remember 2008? That wasn't just a crash, it was a warning. Even now, the system keeps repeating its old patterns with new faces. In 2020, 40% of new single-family homes sold for under $300,000. By 2024, that share fell to barely 20%. A national collapse in affordability. Affordable homes didn't vanish by accident. They were designed out of the market. Developers follow profit, not fairness, and profit lives in luxury. So unless we rewrite the rules, renting may simply become the new normal. Owning a home was once part of the dream. Now it's an exception to the rule. And the cruel twist? We built a system that teaches people to dream of what they can't afford. Maybe that's the saddest part. We kept chasing the dream even after it stopped existing. Renting used to be a phase, now it's becoming a lifestyle. And that's fine, until the rent keeps rising faster than your paycheck. We once believed hard work guaranteed ownership. Today, it just guarantees exhaustion. Some experts call this a generation of renters, but that sounds too polite. It's more like a generation priced out of stability. People delay marriage, kids, even basic security because housing eats their future. Meanwhile, investment portfolios keep getting fatter. It's hard not to see the pattern. When homes turn into assets, humans become liabilities. So what can we do, really? Understanding the system is the first step. Once you see how it works, you stop blaming yourself for losing a rigged game. You stop thinking you're lazy or careless just because you can't buy property. Because let's be honest, the system was never designed for everyone to win. Every generation builds dreams on top of the last one's success. But this time, that foundation is cracking under speculation and debt. We turn the basic need for shelter into a speculative casino. When housing prices rise, the economy cheers, even if families drown. And when they fall, we call it a crisis. Either way, people lose. Remember this, the more housing becomes about profit, the less it's about people. It's not that homes became expensive, it's that they stopped being homes. Maybe the goal isn't to fix the dream, but to redefine it. What if security meant community, not ownership? What if success meant being able to live, not just to buy? For now, renting might be the new normal, but it doesn't have to be permanent. Real change will come when housing stops being a status symbol and becomes a human right again. When cities start building for residents, not investors. When policies reward fairness, not speculation. Until then, the market keeps playing and we keep paying. But here's a thought. Maybe you're not powerless. You can still demand transparency, push for zoning reform, and vote for housing justice. Talk about it, share it, and stop letting the issue stay invisible. Because silence is the best friend of a broken system. The first revolution starts with awareness. And awareness spreads one conversation at a time. Like this one. So next time someone says, you just need to work harder, ask them harder questions. Ask who profits from scarcity, who wins when homes sit empty, and who writes the rules. Because if you follow the money, you'll find the motive. And when enough people see it, the system can't hide anymore. Maybe then, homes can go back to being homes, not financial trophies. A place where living matters more than listing price. Where stability isn't a privilege, but a baseline for dignity. We owe that to the next generation so they don't inherit our broken dream. Because a society that turns shelter into profit can't call itself fair. And a dream that excludes most people isn't a dream worth keeping. So, why can't people afford homes anymore? Because we turn the idea of living into an investment strategy. Until we fix that, the dream stays sold to the highest bidder. Thanks for watching. And if you want more truth behind modern economics, don't forget to subscribe.